is starting again.
You're listening to the Radcast. If it's radical, we cover it. Here's your host, Ryan Alford.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the latest edition of the Radcast. We're still here rocking it for Think Billions event. We got health, wealth, and mindset. We got more great founders, including my good buddy here, Mario Maribella. What's up, brother?
What's going on? Nice to be here.
Hey, man. Like to having you, man.
Thank you. It's
nice having somebody else in the understands agency business. You
know?
Yeah. So, founder of MSM Digital. We've both been in the business a while, and you know, it's been nice getting to know Mario and a lot of people. It's a really quality event.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, just all sorts of levels here.
Yeah.
Just amazing, the experience and knowledge that's in this room. If you want to say multiple rooms of this palace, that's going right.
Palace Castle,
I mean,
you know.
God, but it's amazing. You know, the experiences and just the victories across the board of all these people in all different industries too.
Yeah.
You know, all that wealth of knowledge they're bringing to the table. I mean, you're just overloaded every day. You know, because you're picking out bits and pieces of everything that people are speaking about. So you know, it's priceless.
And every person, sometimes you do events. And it's not that you don't respect who's on stage, but it's maybe something you've heard, or like, and you're like, okay, I've heard that, or whatever. I mean, every single speaker, I've pulled 2 to 3 nuggets.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
Oh, absolutely.
It's like, if not 10.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
for sure. I know. It's just, you just constantly learn. I felt like just being a sponge because you have to be.
You have to be.
You have to be.
Especially when
you
get the value out of these
That's
things.
absolutely right. So it's been a star-studded lineup, you know.
I know.
Good stuff.
Speaking of stars, Mario, stars been aligning for what, 22 years? What's
23 this year, man. 23.
Dude, 2-3.
Yeah.
That's my favorite player. MJ.
Oh yeah,
23.
The GOAT.
Oh yeah,
That's
the GOAT.
it. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Talk to me about, let's paint that founder story for me. We know it's ups, downs, rounds.
Everything sideways, man.
I know.
Yeah, it's been a fun run. I mean, you know, starting in '99, technically, when launching the agency, originally as MSM DesignZ, we were a creative agency, and it was built straight out of my bedroom as a hobby. You know, so a fun fact, Ryan, back in '96, I sold my turntables and I bought my first computer, man. So I was a little late in the computer game, but that's what I did. My precious, cherished Technique 1200s, man. I used to cut up and make mixtapes in high school, man. Oh, they're I miss them.
Yeah.
I miss them, the mixes, everything. I used to have 218 subs in my room, man. Oh, yeah, knock the bass. But, you know, discovered that computer, discovered the internet for the very first time, and was completely hooked, and just took just a passion and love for the creatives. I taught myself Adobe, taught myself how to code in Notepad at the time, you know, before I kind of graduated a little bit to front page, and I said, oh, this is not for me. I went straight to Dreamweaver, which was like crazy hard at the time.
Yeah. Oh, God.
And I lived in forums, man. I just taught myself action scripting back in the day because I loved Flash and I loved everything animated, transition effects, music, loved it. And I got tremendous help with coders in the forums during those days, but it was all a hobby. You know, I didn't think I was doing this. I have actually a degree in criminology. I wasn't supposed to be here, you know, in this area. It was just more of a love and a passion. And I said to myself, when I did start the company, well, maybe I could do this. You know, maybe I could do this. But I had no idea of how to do it and maybe to even obtain clients at the time. So I pretty much was just doing free work just to build a portfolio. So do you need a website? Or a friend of a friend starting his travel agency, you need a website? And that's how it started, man.
Yeah.
Local restaurants. And then all of a sudden I was like, well, how, you know, I got to start making money here.
Yeah.
And that's what happened, man. And it started then to take off. I actually left my full-time job then in '03. I was working for a software company, and I never looked back, you know, at the time. I never looked back. And I laughed, though, because I made the move, and it wasn't real. I was 1 year into being married at the time, and I made the move, and my wife was like, so you're not going to go look for another job? Like, what's going on here, you know? I says, I got to give this a try. and then it just propelled me into that life, and just pretty much just kept going and started to build the company with talent in areas that I knew I didn't have that skill set. I didn't have the training, say, maybe complex databases, e-com. Brought in the talent to really develop the company and to allow us to grow until I was able then to open up locations. And then, of course, we got more in-house staff and then took on more. But it's been a great ride. I mean, I've seen it all. The technologies come and go. The birth of social media, as you know, because you've been around, similar years, right?
Yep.
So it's wild to see how it, really transformed, and you have to stay ahead. If not, you're in this industry, you're just done. Yeah. So you got to keep reinventing, and that's how we came to today with MSM Digital, is that we haven't been, probably in the past decade, we haven't been a creative agency. I mean, it's always the backbone.
Yeah.
To polish in brands, make them look good, their online presence, but we're doing much more now to get them on the map, build awareness, traffic, leads, all that type of stuff. And I figured, if we're going to set the stage to do even more, put ourselves in front of a bigger audience, the name needs to really translate that. So we're not maybe counted out as maybe, they're just maybe a creative agency. So that was the reason for the move this year to MSM Digital. And it's been a good run.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I know you've had, and you're about to, I know we talked pre-episode about scaling and things like that. We'll come back to that. But what's the biggest, maybe let's take it from two angles. Like as an entrepreneur and, that journey and owning your own business and putting the skin in the game and the risk and all that. What's been the biggest surprise over the years, or I don't know, maybe just something you just didn't expect? And then, specific to the ad agency, and there's a two-part question there, maybe industry specific, if there's one A or one B there as far as, building a business in the advertising world.
Yeah, I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would be able to take the agency to where it is today. Just never had that, I guess that foresight. Again, this was like a hobby, but thinking, hey, I could do this. But in the first month, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I'm starting to make more money than in my full-time job. I said, so hold on a second,
There's something here.
So that's a big surprise, right?
Yeah, all right.
I just think that, being able to grow to those different heights and constantly, reinventing yourself at the same time, still kind of surprises me in how we are as a company, how my team continues to evolve. From a client standpoint, it's just, I guess it comes down to, the ability where we work with all industries. And I think that, and that's something I may ask you about, because I like the diversity. And a lot of times people ask me, do you focus on one niche, one industry? And I thought about that at times. Be the guy for
X, Y, Z, yeah.
But it's hard to turn down projects in different industries. It's hard to do that. And it also gives us, in my opinion, the ability to be more creative and to also continue to think outside the box with these other types of projects and industries. Maybe if you found something, in one industry, you say, what, I could be creative here and try it over here. It allows us to do that. We're not a one-trick pony.
Yep.
So, and I don't know how you really feel about that, but that always remains, kind of, it surprises us to see how we adapt, not only in you working with the different industries, but also the team is constantly learning. They're constantly remaining sponges as to what's going on, in the marketplace and new techniques with marketing. So we try to focus on that. And, talent is the key. Continuing to surround myself with great talent. My team is excellent. I always tell them, I'm as good as my team. So I could sell you on something, but if it's not executed properly,
My saying is, I write checks all the time that my team cashes.
Yeah. There it is.
But I wouldn't write them if I didn't know they could.
Right.
They don't bounce, but it's because they're good.
Right.
And that's the way it goes. You got to have a team.
Yeah. And do you feel the same way when it comes to industries?
Yeah, I was going to answer that.
Right.
That's a very hot topic in general with agencies, and everybody says riches in the niches, right? And I think for some things it is. And don't get me wrong, I see why companies do that. And if you want to scale, if it's one industry and you become a specialist, there's probably a faster track to growth there.
Right.
But I agree 100%, and I've fought that specialization with Radical because I think it makes us more skilled dealing with different things. If you do something the same all the time, you have one trick.
Right.
And
exactly.
I think we're more creative and more, I think our ability to think and actually sometimes applying something that's worked for B2C to B2B makes us unique and revolutionary versus, or maybe something that I picked up in textiles that's, moved the needle that could work in manufacturing or work in like some other industry. And we turn it a little bit. And I think if we were purely a B2B manufacturer agency, we wouldn't have that foresight.
Right.
We wouldn't be able to provide that pivot.
Yeah.
A little bit or fresh thinking.
Yeah.
So I agree, and I fought it. And I think I probably could have grown Radical faster, quicker, niche it down.
Yeah.
But I also enjoy the variety.
Yeah.
And so I've done well enough, and we have good clients, and all y'all want to scale some more, but
Sure.
but I enjoy the variety. Our team enjoys the variety. I think also it's hard to hold on team.
Yeah.
If you have really talented creative people and they get put in a too small of a box all the time, you're not going to keep them.
You're not tapping in, right? You're not tapping into their talents. When you just talked about utilizing something that worked maybe for B2B into B2C or vice versa, whatever, I have a good example of that and thinking really outside the box.
Yeah.
So years ago, we had a client that specialized in men's formal wear, and they were a pretty big player with major brands that they carried and put out, and they needed a new online presence. Anyway, long story short, we set up those site designs like you typically would for men's formal wear because they were selling. And it's that typical style, kind of catalog type of look. It was a nice layout. But the sons of the owner, who was taking more of an interest in the company, it was just striking out with them. And I was like, wow, we're not nailing this like we always do. Something's off. And I was relying on my designers. And I said, you know what? I have another meeting with them. And I stayed up. I don't know what time was it, 2 a.m. or something, 3 a.m. to get it done. I did it myself. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to think as men's formal wear and design like that. I'm going to take the mentality that I would for a photographer or videographer that shoots weddings. The lifestyle images, and this was like 10 years ago, the lifestyle images, that vibe of showing groomsmen in the settings, having fun out there, this and that, and brought that into the layout, and home run at 3 a.m., So it's sometimes you can't be that one track mind and just be creative, and you're utilizing maybe your ideas from different industries that you worked in.
That's right.
And you tie it in. They're like, wow, this is not really, we're not seeing this in our tuxedo type of industry.
Yeah.
And so it worked.
Yeah.
So that's just an example of kind of cross-pollinating, right? So
I think there's a lot of ways to skin the cat.
Yeah.
And I've gone down a similar road, and I just think, I don't know, the one central point we kind of rally around is human to human. That's kind of our, whether we work with B2B or B2C, we promote ourselves as being a very human agency, and we always ground our clients back in a human voice. No. And so that's kind of our, lane.
Yeah.
And,
well, you were talking about that before.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. Like what you were saying, people don't want to be sold to.
No.
And that's
You got to understand that.
1000%.
There's an insight there.
yeah, no, that's 1000%.
It's like, okay, yeah, of course, nobody wants to be sold.
Right.
But it means that you need to market accordingly.
Right. Yes, and that's the human side of it, and it's so key. If you think along those lines, you know, they'll pay attention more. You're hitting pain points. You're like, you know, you're putting yourself in their shoes and such, and they're going to relate to that. They're going to gravitate to that content, and so that was key.
Yeah.
You mentioned that. You mentioned something else too when it comes to, you know, the human voice and the element, but I think that should be the approach now. You know, what was that thing you were talking about? The friction and
Yeah, you got to remove friction.
Right.
Like, I mean, you know, Amazon's changed the game for everything. And so you've got to make the path to purchase super narrow, super easy.
right.
And, you know, like the best creative, you know, execution gets in the way, Coinbase, you know, doing that thing. And then their
Right.
server crashed. They weren't ready for it.
They weren't
you
ready
know,
for
you
it.
got 500 million people watching the Super Bowl. You needed to assume 25% were going to hit your website.
Right, absolutely,
You know? All you do is create friction for them trying to come see who you are. But
That's right, yeah.
Removing friction. Those are the
excellent.
Alfred playbook. Like
That's
human
great.
and friction removal.
Ah,
you
that's
know?
awesome. And speaking about playbook, man, what happened with your team today?
Oh, won 27-21.
All right, my man.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, Clemson's won. They have the largest home winnings, 76 in a row at home.
Are you kidding me?
Clemson.
Really?
And so they're playing at home today. Syracuse is up 21-10 at half.
Oh,
Clemson scores 17 unanswered, 27-21.
Nice.
Defense shut them down to like negative 10 yards in the
really?
second half.
Oh, wow, unstoppable, like a
Yeah.
brick wall, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good stuff. Big
Yeah.
win.
Big
That's
win.
good.
And Syracuse is good.
Yeah,
I
huh?
mean, they're number 12.
The
I mean,
Orange.
it wasn't that push
Yeah.
over. Yeah, I know that historically, like, you're great every year, but
Right.
Dino had him playing good. So, yeah.
Oh, that's good
We'll
stuff,
see.
man.
Yes. So sidebar for those of you out there.
Yeah.
But you know, everybody listens regularly knows I'm a Clemson guy. So,
Yeah, we had to bring it up, man.
We
had to bring it up.
Yes, yes. Mario, so where's it all going? We want to scale. I mean, side hustles. I mean, what else we got cooking?
Yeah, I guess, you know, we want to scale, but I think for the first time, what I'm starting to do is separate myself a little bit to build my own personal brand.
Yeah.
I think that's important. I
Yep.
think it's been long overdue. You know, the amount of experience at the moment, you know, 23 years under my belt, the industries I've worked in. I mean, we had great recognition over the years as well. So it's been a really great ride for the company. But today, it's all about that personal brand and how you're tying that back. The perfect example of what you did with the chart there
Yeah.
of, you know, between your podcast and the personal brand, and then it leads back to the company. You know, that's so important. We're building relationships now, and it's key. And now that that's really been programmed in my mind this year, I'm speaking that way to clients when I see that there's opportunity for them now, making you an authority in that industry,
Yep.
you know, and I'm making them realize, like, especially building up their social presence and their brand voice. At the end of the day, I need to make you an educator and an expert in your industry. That's my
right.
job, right? So sometimes then now we're taking away that owner of the company and saying, we need to concentrate on your personal brand a little bit too, because the more good stuff you're putting out there, people are going to pay attention. And like they always preach, you know, the know, like, and trust. And I believe in that. And that's kind of been like really ingrained this year. And so, of course, I started to branch out from the company to put my own stuff out there just to build up my own credibility. Because
But
other
you've done
than
it in the
that,
right order.
you know?
And, you know, I did the same thing. Like, you've done it for 23 years.
Yeah.
It makes it a lot easier to get out there because you've got the credibility. Now you just need to amplify it, right?
Right, just to
And
right.
you've got the personality for it.
Right.
You
Well,
do.
I thank you,
You
man.
you do. Totally do. Like,
You know,
I mean,
it's fun speaking. It's fun getting on these things. I would love to do
Yeah.
more of these
Yeah,
things like
of course.
this and get out there. You know, I started my Instagram channel and just, you know, putting out good content, value. Really, that's all it is value. And
Yeah.
and just how can we start collaborating? You know, start collaborating with people. And that's like the name of the game. I think you mentioned it before, if I'm not mistaken. I know Josh mentioned it too. I always had this very, very competitive personality
Yeah.
years back. Very competitive, right?
There's plenty to go around.
But that's it. And I stopped that mentality long ago, and I said, you know what? It's all about collaboration now. There's more than enough for everybody to work together. There's money to be made, and I don't look at people like as competitors anymore. Like, hey, how can we work together?
Yeah.
You know,
because everybody's got a different skill set.
You never know.
Like,
There's always could be a need, or
Yeah.
or there could be somebody that says, you know what? This is not a fit for me. You want to talk to this client?
Yeah.
You know, and that's how things happen. So that's kind of been the change too. You know, just having that mentality, but the personal brand, that's kind of been my focus. I just got to get my ass doing more like reels and video and stuff. That's why I'm looking at all this equipment. I says, send me a list, man.
Yeah, I'll get you a list.
You know, but yeah, so that's kind of been our focus this year and what I would love to continue to do.
Yeah.
You know, so. And I feel it all at the end, it ties back to the company.
Yeah,
you know,
it
I
does.
tell my staff all the time, I say, I'm doing what I'm doing is because it's only going to make us stronger, you know, and they see that. And they've been highly motivated now by the things that we've been doing this year that, you know, that we never did. And I think it rejuvenates the staff, especially people who've been with me for 10 years plus.
Yeah.
You know, and it's great to see.
Well, you know, and I'll use Nick, you know, our producer as an example, but Nick's been with me for almost the long haul with Radical.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think he bought the vision in the beginning, but, you know, like, because at first, you know, your guests, your buddies, and you're doing things with the podcast, and like, I'm like, but Nick, let me tell you where this is going. And Nick, and then we got here, you know, yesterday or the day before or whatever, and he goes, started from the bottom, now we're here.
That's it. Perfect track, man.
Yeah.
Perfect track.
Yeah, like literally. But he, you know, I told him this is what's coming.
Yeah.
And it's here. You know, like
that's it. Believed in the vision.
Yeah.
You know, it's important. You know, I almost, if I pull it up in my Slack channel to my staff, when something happened recently, we got recent recognition, and I said that to them. I said, thank you for believing in my vision. And, you know, and seeing, you know, what we're trying to do here, you know, and just coming along for the ride, you know, because look at what's going on, you know?
Yeah.
So
you got to celebrate the wins too.
That's it. You know, we get enough hits, man.
I know.
You know, we get enough hits, man, over the years. Like no one gave me a playbook, man, you know?
There isn't one, let me tell you.
Yeah, right?
I
And you
watched
came
for
from
17 years.
Yeah.
I watched, so I got to see it. And even they didn't have a playbook.
And you were down in Madison, right? So you were in major agencies down there, right?
Yeah.
And is that how all these big campaigns kicked off?
Yeah.
Because that was one of my questions is, you know, you worked on this massive droid campaign, phenomenal success. And, you know, I was like, how does an agency obtain something at that level?
Yeah, I mean, we pitched the business.
Is that what it's so
like
there's people actively?
I pitched Verizon Business in 2001 with an agency. That was my first job. We got the business, and our agency got bought by one of the holding companies that put two lines of Verizon Business together. And so that was my largest account for 10 years. But under Verizon, I worked on Droid, the Apple iPhone launch, the Razor.
Oh wow!
Every major
major
like name that you can think of that. You remember the campaigns.
Yeah,
I worked on every single major smartphone release.
That's unbelievable. But were you? I mean, obviously aggressive with the pitch, but were you more proactive, or there was something out there with an RFP?
We had RFP'd the original piece of business, and then once we got in the door, it was more just.
Then you kept
just campaigns. We kept it for 13 years.
So yeah, so you
and
kept
then
talking with them.
most of that stuff is RFP pitched at that level, and
Yeah.
I worked on Budweiser and that was a pitch, and then worked on Bojangles and worked on Samsung and worked on. I mean,
that's excellent.
and
Yeah,
was involved in pitch, and I was a hybrid. I was creative strategy account guy.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and a rare breed.
Yeah,
and
for
especially
sure.
in a New York agency, and the owner of our agency got out of my way. The clients loved me, and I had big ideas.
Oh,
it was a
wow.
magical combination.
Yeah, right.
'Cause sometimes you get the idea guys are lukewarm with the client.
Yeah.
You know, like they got good ideas, and so that's why they have a job.
Yeah,
But they're not great with the client.
Right.
Well, I was both.
Oh,
and
wow.
so I made them a lot of money.
Oh, I can imagine, man.
You know,
That's
and
great.
so, but I learned a lot. I'm not like,
Sure.
you know, I've learned for 17 years and then I've applied it. And
That's
you
it.
know, but I also got to work on things. Like if I had started, no matter how smart I was, if I had started my agency, I wouldn't have gotten the experiences that I got, you know,
Sure.
because I've been, you know, as you know, like, and now owning my own agency, it matters what I've done, but they want to see Radical's book of business.
Right, exactly.
And so, you know, my legacy helps us, certainly.
Sure. Yeah.
But I'm not, you know, Pepsi's leading agency.
Right,
You know what I
right,
mean?
right.
And we should be. I mean,
Right.
I can walk it. I was 27 and the CMO of Verizon was asking me what I thought they should do.
Wow.
I mean, you know, I was an early riser. But so I can walk on any floor with credibility, but you know, still, what have you done lately? You know?
Right, sure.
So,
But that's interesting. That's more offline stuff we'll talk about, man.
Yeah,
'Cause I'm
man.
very interested in that stuff and what you've done with that process.
Yeah.
But it's true, man. It sets the stage, man, and it gets you to where now, hey, I got my own gig,
Yep.
highly successful, you know, and taking all of that experience, all of that type of, you know, ups and downs and client campaigns now, you know, ideas and adapt, you know.
Yeah. That's what you got to
So
do.
it's
It's a crazy business.
that's it.
Mario, man, it's been great having you on. Where can everybody
Yeah.
keep up with you and your agency?
So you can follow me on Instagram at Mario S. Mirabella. That's my Instagram handle, or even on LinkedIn. My website is still MSM DesignZ
Okay.
with a Z.com before we transition to MSM Digital. But you can check me out. Even my company, everything's at MSM DesignZ with a Z with all the social handles. And yeah, it'll be great, you know,
Yeah.
and definitely follow up with you and
Yeah.
see what's going on. It's been great.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate
Really
it.
enjoyed this. So, hey, guys, give Mario a follow. Go give him some love on social media and keep up. I'm sure he's going to be starting podcasting and everything
Yeah.
else. I'm going to come on your show.
Oh, hell yeah. I would love to have you, man.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And, yeah, so follow along. And, hey, go to the radcast.com, search for Mario. You'll find all the content from today. You know where I'm at. I'm at Ryan Alford on all the platforms. Ryan.Alford on TikTok. I'm verified everywhere. I'm blowing up on TikTok, so go hit me up over there. See you next time on the Radcast.